everyone to another episode of the Footy GameDay Squad show. I'm your host Cal, and joining me today is Curm as we are back from our 2-week hiatus to review everything round 14 AFL fantasy. Curm, we've got so much to get through. We've got to explain why we've been away. We've got to talk about GameDay Squad, and of course we've got to talk a lot about the footy that's been happening. How have you been?
Good. I'm keen to get the cobwebs off a little bit here. I'm nervous. I was a little bit nervous coming into this show after being away for so long, but first things first, mate, what are you wearing right now? Give us a twirl.
You don't like this? You don't like this? Mate. Among a lot of things in the last couple of weeks, I was actually just down in Adelaide to watch my mighty pair get a win over the Swans. So it's a shame Tom isn't here. I'll give you the backstory on where he's been, guys. He's been off in Boston. Boston made the finals. He decided, that's it, jumping on a plane, and somehow he ended up in TD Garden, unfortunately watching Curry bury his Celtics. So he'll be back soon. But yeah, no, you like it?
Yeah, I actually do. I actually quite like it. A bit of an eyesore, but sometimes those are the best things. I'm a Suns fan, so I'm used to it.
I just got so jealous of you wearing your Suns jersey every time you had a win, and I've only got a Port jersey, so I went to the Port store. As you know, you saw the bag that I walked out, and it was a bit of a guessing game how much I spent. The answer was too much, but I love it. But I reckon we should talk a little bit about why we've been away. So first of all, I was down in Melbourne, and then we had a bit of illness, and then a lot of illness, and then we had Tom being away, and then we obviously had GameDay Squad, which is the reason we're here. It's Australia's first and currently only fantasy sport platform built using blockchain technology. And since last time we spoke, Kerm, we've had round one of our competition. We're live. Our competitions are out. So if you haven't heard of GameDay Squad, if you're new here, make sure you go check it out. Everything's in the descriptions below. You'll be able to start setting up your team. The best part about it is, even though we've had round one, we had a few issues. We're in beta at the moment, so we're not a finished article, but we did have a few issues, and it just meant that round one's competition won't go towards our seasonal comp. And that means if you are listening to this, you still have time to get your team in, get started, because that seasonal comp will be starting, hopefully, this week. Now, just to recap, we obviously have packs there waiting for everyone. So if you go on, jump on and join, there are free starter packs. You can start building your team. You don't need to spend a cent for yourselves to start getting game day ready. But Kerm, we are going to change things up. Now we actually have our platform. Our old format is going to go in the bin a little bit. We're going to take the best bits. We're going to add a little bit more. So our review and preview shows going forward should be a little bit different. What sort of stuff should our viewers be looking forward to?
So we're going to start talking about our own teams a little bit more. So we all have a team, me, Cal, and Tom, as game day players and coaches ourselves. We all have a team. So we'll be talking about our own teams and our own player cards a little bit more. We might be opening a few more packs here and there. So there might be one at the end of the show. So a little bit of a cliffhanger to stay on for us for. But there might be some packs being opened on the show. We'll talk about studs and duds still, but we're going to refine it a little bit. And we're going to talk about just footy as a whole. This is a footy show, footy fantasy show. So we're going to start talking about it more and more refined to GameDay Squad specifically.
Yeah, love it. And we will make sure we keep some things the same. RE wearing our colours when our team gets a win. So I reckon we get straight into the new format, Kerm. What do you reckon?
Let's do it.
All right, Kerm, before we get into talking about how your team did for round one, you've got to introduce your team. What have you gone and named it?
I've gone and named it the Kermies. Very bland for season one. I wanted to keep it nice and straight and narrow and all about the player cards. It's not about me. It's about my player cards, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But what about yourself? What have you named yours?
I'll get into that. When I get into mine. I'll build the suspense a little bit. How about you tell us how Kermies went in round one? Tell us some of your plays you've got as well, where you sat. Yeah, and I think as well we're going to throw on what you got right and what you got wrong for your team as well. But first, tell us how you went.
Yeah, I went really good for round one. I was pretty surprised. We'll talk about some things I got wrong later on, which is some idiotic mistakes. But the Kermies, we had a good first round debut. Finished 4th overall on the ladder. 3,324 points, and some highlights. I got some really nice cards early on in the preseason, highlighted by a diamond Sam Doherty. He is my absolute baby, 1.4 multiplier on him, 1 out of 100. I absolutely love him and hold him dearly to my heart. But to go with him, I've got a diamond James Sicily. He'll be playing this week. Didn't play last week due to the bye, but he'll be playing this week in the starting lineup. One of your boys, Carl Amon, I've got a diamond of him. Two of 100, I think he is. But he's got a healthy average going into the back end of the season. Platinum Cornelia and Platinum Rory Laird. It's a couple of big names. And we all know my love for Sean Darcy. I only managed to get a platinum of him. I'll be looking to upgrade him as the season goes along. But Sean Darcy is my sole ruckman, and I'll be using him for the rest of the year, I imagine, unless someone else comes in. But yeah, some really good names there. And last week, mistakes, round one shivers, sorry. I started, the forward line was just a mess. My forward line is a bit of a joke. There's no one really that good. I've got a diamond steel side bottom. I'm honestly reluctant to play that card at the moment, even given his rarity and how high it is. But he probably will get the start this week. But I wanted to start Daniel Rioli, and let this be a lesson for everyone out there and a lesson to myself as well. But when you got a player who has a brother with the same, or a cousin or a family member with the same surname, please make sure you check the first name first, because I only went and started Morris Rioli instead of Daniel Rioli, who was an emergency substitute, came on late and did well, to be fair, while he was out there. But Daniel Rioli might have had his best game of the year, and I missed out on a healthy amount of points there. So a bit of a mistake, but starting Sam Doherty made up for it, as he always does, Mr. Consistent.
Good rap, and congrats, fourth in your first week.
Yeah,
is pretty good. Couldn't crack the top 3, but hey, top 10 get prizes. If you want to know what those prizes are, whether you're in our open league, and I think we should have said, Kerm, as well, you are competing in our open league.
Correct.
Whether you're in the open league or the capped league, or in either, regardless what sport you're in, all the prizes are the same. So if you want to play the free to play, that first prize in the free to play league, if you will, is the exact same as the open league competition. Alrighty, so for me as well, I was competing in the Open League, and I was one of the users affected by the rollback issue. So if you're not familiar with that, jump on our Discord. We talked all about it. It's basically the reason why we've had to push back our seasonal competition start date. While I could still get my team in, and while those prizes are still there for this week, it just means that we've pushed that back for a week. So I was affected by that. And even with that, Kerm, I managed to still sit in 5th. I had 1,626 points, but my rollback issue left me with Bowie, Steele, and Neil, and not the right Neil, not the Brisbane one, the Neil that doesn't play. They all are in my team, and they all got zeros. But I still reckon it's probably lucky for the competition that I was affected by that rollback issue, because I would have been top 3 for sure if I'd played some of those players. But yeah, what I got right though, I kept the faith with Connor Rozee. I told you that he was going to be a star, and I had the likes of Cameron and King and Hogan to choose from, but I went with my boy. I was down watching him play. 14 kicks, 15 handballs, a goal, and 112 points. 145 GDS points with that bump that he got with my 1.3 multiplier of him. So
that's handy for any forward player.
Yeah. So I was stoked with that. What I got wrong, though, in week 1 was I left out Caniglio, who had a huge day, 119 points, and I left him out in favour of Hewitt. Now, this is a first warning. So Hewitt only had 82 points, but I had a silver Caniglio and a platinum Hewitt. And because of the difference, I was tossing them up. I've actually gone for the higher rated card, and it's come back to bite me. So lesson 1, you've got to go for the right players, not the right cards. So yeah, that's what I learned this week, and that's what I got wrong.
Learning a lot in round 1 of GDS Fantasy out there.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn from. I want to know how everyone else went in round 1. If you're able to get your teams in, you're able to compete, let us know below in the comments. Tell us how you went. Tell us how your best performing players were. And of course, jump over to our Discord. That's where it's all happening. We're all posting our scores, our teams, and everything like that, as well as some of our strategies with all the rules that we have. So make sure you go check them out.
Alrighty, Cal, and I know it's going to be hard, and all we want to do is talk about fantasy and GDS, but I just want to take us back a little bit and talk about footy. Take me through your best moment of round 14 out there in footy.
That's a hard one for me this week, because I can go quite personal and tell you that for the first time ever, as a Port Adelaide fan, I got to go down to Adelaide and watch us as a home team. So I'm going to put the bias on, and has to be from that game. And it could have been cheap for me to go with the Jonas push to stop the Hayward certain goal. I like that, but for me, it was quite simple. It was the rundown tackle and holding the ball from Mead. It was after we just scored 6 goals to open the third quarter. We'd gone 6 goals up. We go down the other end, had a shot on goal. It was like the apex moment for the crowd of our dominance, and I just was eating it all up. Couldn't have been happier. A good holding the ball and the crowd goes nuts.
Yeah.
Nothing better in footy.
Atmosphere would have been unreal.
Better than a goal, in my opinion, a good holding the ball. So for me, that was my footy moment of the round. What about yourself?
Yeah,
I'm
I really
assuming
love
it's
that.
not your boy Will Powell.
No, that was disgusting. I hopefully he's back soon. I doubt it's good news, but I mean,
Didn't look
if
it.
if he's walking, it's good news at this point because it looked grotesque. But
I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say he's not going to be walking for a little.
oh, not for a while. If he's walking and again at some point, I think.
Oh, you mean
it's a
again?
It was so bad. It was so bad. But no, I'll take one of the boys. I'll take a leaf out of your book and go with the Suns moment. And it was Alex Davies. Cairns boy. I actually coached him up here. I always say that when I talk about Alex Davies. Yeah, he's one of the Cairns boys up here. And thank you, rep.
Hello.
But yeah, no, he got his granddad over from Japan to watch him play at home at Metricon and score his first goal and got him involved in the team's song. And you wouldn't have gotten that at the Suns from a couple of years ago, I don't think. And I think it's just telling the way the culture's changing down at Metricon and the Suns and the way it's becoming more of a family environment, more of a footy club, not just a professional setting for athletes to provide themselves in. But that moment there was a little bit... it's a bit of a changing of the guard for me, and it's just a testament to what Stewie Jew's doing down at Metricon and how he does deserve a contract extension, no matter if Alistair Clarkson is out there. I think he definitely deserves it. So for me,
into that. Damn.
Very, very big. But for me, I think it's just a changing of the guard and the culture we like to see at the Suns now that we are starting to get some wins on the board and just that family environment as well. I like it. I like it a lot.
Beautiful. We'll have to have a chat about that another time. But we are here. We're going to talk fantasy football. And this is, of course, the review show. So we're going to talk about some studs and duds. We're going to hit you with a different format. Kerm, I believe you're just going to fire through who all the studs were. And you've just got free reign. You've got all the games. Take us away.
Yep, I'm going to hit us with the biggest stud of the week, which was Jack Mcrae from the Western Bulldogs, who absolutely went off his head for 173 GDS points. He was unstoppable out there, found the footy at will, and he just torched them. And we sort of wanted to see more from Jack Mcrae because he hasn't been that premium stud that we've had in previous seasons. But that 173 GDS fantasy score is exactly what we want from Jack Mcrae. So more of that, please.
Do you have a Jack Mcrae?
I don't have a Jack Mcrae. I'd love a Jack Mcrae. I would love a Jack Mcrae. There's a few doggies I'd love to be fair.
I had Josh a platinum.
Dunkley. Oh, do you?
Sorry, I accidentally muted myself. I have a platinum Mcrae.
Oh,
so
tasty.
he was a big reason why I did so well on the weekend.
Yeah.
No, shout out to anyone that's got higher than a platinum.
I saw a diamond Josh Dunkley in the Discord the other day as well, and that looked very tasty as well.
There's a few nice diamonds flying around.
Yeah. And some of my favourite players in GDS Fantasy, and I've spoken about it in some of my blogs that you can find on the GDS website, Sam Doherty and Jordan Dawson, who are absolute kick merchants. And we've spoken about it before, but in GDS Fantasy scoring, you do get 4 points per kick, which is more than any other fantasy platform out there in Australia right now.
Ooh.
These players are absolute unicorns for you. So if you can get a Sam Doherty or Jordan Dawson, who are both killing it right now, their floor is just so high because of their kicking ability. And these players like Jaden Short as well, James Sicily, who can take mark kicks, that sort of game style, are going to take you a long way. I think they're the best cards that you can get in fantasy right now in GDS scoring. And if you can get those players, like Sam Doherty had 155 on the weekend and Jordan Dawson had 142, I don't think you can go wrong. So those are the players I'm going to be keeping my eye out from. And the more I can get, the better.
No, I like that. I would love myself a Doherty. I'm very jealous of your Diamond Doherty, as you saw. I didn't go through my team before, but I brought it. It would have gone up on screen. Heads up, Kerm. I'm putting our teams up on screen. I will get that from you later. So you'll be able to see what I've got there without me going through it. And you can see my best card is a Lockie Whitfield Diamond. Would like a few more, though, because I've got a few good Platinums, but I would like a few more Diamonds to compete with you guys and some of the other guys in our Discord who are posting some crazy players.
Some disgusting teams out there.
You got the studs, you gave me the duds, so I'll go through a few of the duds from the weekend's game, and there's a fair few that caught my eye that were quite disappointing. Start with Tom Stewart. We like him, and an 88 for Tom Stewart, his not terrible score, but for him it is.
Yeah.
And
Nowhere near where you want Stewart.
Nah, you want him putting up 120s and really get that multiplier effect going if you've got one of the higher cards with him. Someone who did have a shocking game, regardless of who he's been in the past, was Jakey Lloyd. 58 GDS points. I was stoked to see it. I didn't even realise he was playing against us. Him and Papley, you could have told me that neither of them were out on the ground. I would have believed you. Benny Key's another one in the Tom Stewart category, where a 90 is a dud for him. Bizarre. And someone else, I've given it to Charlie Curnow, as Tom would call him, Charlie Cornrow, who had a very quiet 56. So, yeah, they were my duds I found across the round. Shout out to my boy, Zachy Butters, for doing his knee right in front of me. After leading the best player on the ground by far in the first quarter, he went down with that knee injury in the second quarter. Fingers crossed for you, buddy, that it's not too bad and then you'll be back. But yeah, that's a dud that we don't like to see and not his fault. Yeah. But they're my duds from the round.
I love that. Charlie Curnow is a weird one. I think he's becoming very goal dependent for me, and he struggles to play against some really good key defenders. He struggled against Alex Pearce, struggled against Melbourne, but if he can work up the field like he was earlier on in the season, he's going to be viable. But yeah, very goal dependent for me at the moment.
And I just want to quickly shout out a dud because I want to give a one. Cam, let me have one.
Do it.
I made a bet with my girlfriend, Swans fan, beside me, and basically the bet was if Heaney or if Todd Marshall kicks a certain amount of goals, then we'll go and the other one we get to buy each other the badge. Yeah. Toddy Marshall had himself a day.
Career
so guess who is
day.
now the new owner? I don't have it with me. I wish I could have grabbed it for the pod. I should have. But I've got a nice, beautiful Toddy Marshall badge. That boy is an absolute stud. Forget everything I ever said bad about him. I love him. He's my favourite player now. Todd Marshall, you are the king. So
I love that. I feel for you, Tegan.
On the record.
I feel for you, Tegan.
Tegan was not doing well. Go check out my Twitter for a very funny video. I think it's funny of Tegan's reaction when I'm clapping to the siren. And you can imagine I wasn't holding back for my first game there ever. So
definitely check it out.
Alrighty, Kern, before we go, we're going to finish up with our segment we always do, buy, sell and hold. But like we said, we're going to be changing it up. And every week, we're going to be opening packs and taking turns. So this week, this pack is going to be mine, but it means that you're going to be able the one to play buy, sell and hold. So for those who are just seeing this for the first time, this is our platform. I will take you through where I've got my pack. I've already bought it before. I hope it's a good pack. My pack hasn't been good. I know we're doing this for a bit of content, but just low-key wouldn't mind a few good players. So I reckon we get stuck into that.
Let's do it.
All right. Now, like we said, we've had a couple of issues go so far. So if you ever experience anything, make sure you hit us up on your Discord. But I don't like that animation. It means we've only got a gold. So you can see there hovering over, I've got 2 silvers and a gold. So fingers crossed they're still stars. I have no idea who that player is. Oh, we were just talking about that boy.
Nice.
Silver, though. Don't need him, though, so I'd be knowing what I'm doing with him. And your boy, Fiorini. So I want you to give me a buy, sell, hold as 3 players, and then I want you to tell me if it's different, knowing the multipliers.
Okay.
Go.
So this is very easy. Obviously, Jack Mcrae is the starter here. He's an absolute fantasy stud, and he has been proven for many seasons. Jack Mcrae is a proven ball winner, one of the best midfielders in the league. So he's definitely the start for me. And my buy. My hold here would be Braden Fiorini. He's been struggling to get into the Suns starting 22, but he's carving it up in the VFL. And when he does play AFL, same with VFL, he just knows how to find the footy. He can rack up disposals at will. Not the best user by foot or by hands, but the man just is a magnet. He knows where to find it. And Carroll, not a lot to say about Carroll. He would be myself. No, nothing. He's a bit of a... He's not a nobody. He's an AFL player, but in fantasy terms, he's not going to be starting anywhere near your team. I would keep him on your... Not even your bench or your squad. Just keep him in the reserves. Leave him there, see what happens, and hopefully he can crack into the 22.
Yeah, I like it. With the multipliers, though, you're gonna stay with the multipliers.
With the multipliers, it remains exactly the same. Even with the gold Fiorini, if he's going to start, we might have an option. But the Suns midfield right now, it just seems really staunch. Rao, Noah Anderson, and Took Miller. I can't see anyone breaking into that rotation there. So Fiorini for me would still be my hold. Jack Mcrae would definitely be my buy, and Carroll will be my sell.
There you go. And what I've done, we have been a little bit rusty, so thank you very much for persisting with this, our first show back in a couple of weeks. I think I've combined two segments here. I think we've got buy, sell, and hold, but also start one, bench one, cut one. So we've kind of somehow confused those two games together. But you get the gist of where we're going. I understand where we're going with it. But no, I like that. I don't know that's a very good pack for me. I'm not very happy with that. Please give me a like if you agree that pack is rubbish. And make sure if you are enjoying this that you're subscribing, because our content is going to get a little bit more refined now we've got our platform out and we've got Tom back, and we'll get back into a swing of things. Like I've said, it's been all hands on deck to get our platform out. Just want a quick shout out to our community already that is on our Discord and is on the platform. We're pushing close to 1,000 users already, which is insane across the two games. So yeah, we couldn't be happier with what we're building here, and we couldn't be happier with the community that's coming on this journey with us. So if you want to get involved, let us know how your platform's going, how your game's going. You've got questions, you've got issues. Make sure you're hitting us up, because we want to make sure we can make this the best fantasy platform that we can. So Cam, I think we'll wrap it up at there. We will be back with a different preview show, a few more spicy things going on, and hopefully we can see the return of Tom. You excited for that?
Absolutely. Miss you, Tom. Hope you're good.
We do. We miss Tom as well. And thank you guys. Make sure you're checking out all of our socials. Everything's in the description below, and we can't wait to talk game day with you guys soon. Cheers.